Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 48. We are just 2 episodes away, Matt, from the magical number of 50.
Yes.
Quickly crawling up in as well. I think we're quickly crawling up on our official 1 year.
Yes,
too.
I think I have to look what day it
Yeah,
was.
It's been a few weeks, I think.
I think maybe either not next week or it's at the end of the month. I think.
Yeah,
officially.
Yeah, because I do recall us starting this at the end. I think it might have been at the end of July or early August, when we decided to do this whole thing.
And well, technically we had an episode before the first one, but there were issues.
Thank God, because that was bad.
I think it was my old laptop couldn't.
Like you couldn't download.
It was I probably got that laptop probably before I went to college, probably 2010, 2011. So
it was time for an upgrade.
Yeah, I like how is that a clip or is that the whole episode? 114 somehow did 114 views.
What
the first episode.
Yeah, I did just say that a lot of that was just from you doing something.
Maybe posting that.
Yeah.
Which probably should do more. Yeah. I don't have a. Oh, I could look at the date. Hang on. When it was uploaded. Oh, thank you. 11 months ago. That doesn't help. July 28th.
Oh, so about 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away. So we're gonna be I think 2 weeks short of 52 weeks. Because there was 1 week I don't think we.
We didn't do 1 week because you were like really bogged down with
It was the music, school stuff.
Yeah, with school.
Yeah,
with school stuff. But that's something that we will.
We will have a retrospective. Yeah. Probably that episode.
Yeah, it'll probably just like kind of just us reflecting on the first year there. So But as far as this week is concerned, Matt, we have a lot of topics to cover. The first of which was a pretty big story from the last few days. And that was DeSean Jackson and his comments from an Instagram story. I'll kind of let you run this down.
So this is via Fox Sports website, and I'll have to remember to link that in the description. I think this, looking at the stories for this topic, or articles for this story, I think this Fox Sports article at least was the most comprehensive with reactions and actually his quotes and posts. So on Monday, Jackson posted let me find it, I lost it, on a quote on his Instagram story, I think several quotes, which was attributed to Adolf Hitler, stating in part, and I'm quoting this from the article, quote, "The Jews will blackmail America, I guess this is, I don't know why there's no word there, will extort America, or at least they will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they are." So that was at least one part of that story. And the Eagles responded, and here's part of the quote via their Twitter account. "Today we have penalized DeSean for conduct detrimental to the team. He accepted these consequences and apologized. He understands that in order to remain on the team, he must also commit to supporting his words with actions." And that's one part of that statement. Tim McManus from ESPN reported that an original tweet goes, "I'm told DeSean Jackson intends to donate a significant portion of his fine to Jewish community efforts." And then he quoted that tweet and says, "To clarify, it's not from the fine itself, but the amount Jackson is donated is equal to a significant amount of the fine total." And other players around the league have come out and tweeted and pretty much gave their opinions. Emmanuel Echo?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. A teammate of Jackson on the 2013 Eagles tweeted, DeSean Jackson's comments were offensive and uneducated. However, ignorance is no excuse for prejudice of any kind. Google is too afraid for this to keep happening. We must all learn more and be better, period.
Did you also hear what Steven Jackson said, who was basically doubling down and saying that basically what DeSean Jackson said wasn't actually wrong, which couldn't be more farther from, and
yeah,
it's just like I'm like, do you guys have any idea what the public is currently viewing you as? Like, especially if you look at like Ariel Helwani's Twitter timeline a few days ago, who he is Jewish, so he was rightfully very angry, very hurt because I'm like, to me, any viewing of Hitler that isn't as a tyrant, the most evil person in human history. Like, I think the only other person you could probably say was worse was probably Genghis Khan. And I'm just like, especially on the Jewish community, it's just going to look really, really, really bad, because I don't think, I mean, like, did it not cross their mind? Like, this man killed over 6 million Jews during World War II. How do you think that these people are going to react?
I think saying anything like that, or anything without the intent of offending the Jewish community, and I think he says he was wanting to build up, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, the Black Lives Matter movement, and to support that. But at the same time, you do that,
and
you're attacking the Jewish, which just through history have just been that those people have been attacked, minus obviously Hitler, but subtract Hitler, just throughout history have just been just ridiculed for whatever reason. For
centuries. They have been ridiculed for centuries. Hell,
I don't know.
Hell, if you
did, but
watch the 10 Commandments, like back into ancient Egyptian times, they have been like on like constant turmoil, whether it's for whatever reason. So like, it's just it was just a very uneducated, very poor thing to say. I think if he would have just worded or given more context to what he was trying to say, it would not have come off as offensive. But the way that he portrayed it, as he was essentially praising Hitler, but without actually meaning to praise him. Like, there's just, you got to be more aware of anything that you put on social media, especially for the platform that DeSean Jackson has. He is a wide receiver in the National Football League for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a very important position of him, and anything he says on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, is going to be scrutinized. So whatever you say, better have whatever you're trying to get across, you better be absolutely sure of what is trying to get across, or it's going to create a massive shitstorm like we had here.
And another thing, I think this was perfect. This was perfectly summed up. I think Fox Sports' Charlotte Wilder I think he tweeted and all right, Pittsburgh Steelers Zach Banner said something.
Yeah.
I'll read that real quick. His tweet again. All this is in the article. This video is to. Well, he recorded a video of himself in the tweet. So this video is to transition from the incident and move forward as a community, not to harp on Deshaun Jackson's mistake, but to progress by educating ourselves. We can't move forward or allowing ourselves to leave another minority race in the dark, which is true, and I won't give up thoughts on that. Well, in the Charlotte Wilder commented on that, and I'm not going to read that part, but her two tweets here. I'm Jewish, and the one thing I'll say is that anyone fighting the social justice should be fighting for everyone. You can't truly be against anti-Semitism without being against racism. It goes both ways. And she continues, anti-Semitic rhetoric is terrifying, and when I've walked into a synagogue for the high holidays with a heavy police presence outside to protect from bomb threats, it's chilling. But the police haven't targeted me from the color of my skin. We all have to be on the same team here. And I agree. I mean, in terms of African Americans in this country, I mean, it's documented. It's obvious that they have not been, obviously, if this racism not being treated too kindly overall over the years, going obviously slavery and just the prejudice and
equal opportunity
rights and stuff. I mean, that is obvious. I'm not saying anything that's not shocking, but there is the Jewish in terms there is a racism or prejudice, I should say, against the Jewish community. We had that synagogue shooting here in Pittsburgh,
which was
2 years ago.
Yeah,
it's already been a year.
I remember that day very vividly too, because that shook the city like the likes. I can't even recall.
I think I was at a Pit game that day with the band because I remember something being up there, and I believe so.
I do too, because I recall waking up and just social media just blew up because there was like all kinds of police cars and everything, and just so many innocent people dying.
Yeah.
Old people, young people. It was just like, and I'm just like, I mean, like, it was so shocking that it honestly brought the city together, probably,
and for in parts of the country as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there was I forget her name. She was in Big Bang Theory. She played
Penny.
No, not Penny. Oh my God.
Okay, well.
Sheldon's girlfriend.
Oh, yeah,
Amy.
I know her, yeah, Amy.
Oh my God, I forget her name, and I would mispronounce it anyway. She came and she, I think she visited the synagogue and stuff. I mean,
believe also too.
Tom Hanks.
No, Robert Kraft did too. When the Patriots came into town, because he is also Jewish too. I believe. So,
and then Tom Hanks was filming the Mr. Rogers movie at the time, I believe.
Yep.
So he did some stuff. So the point being is that that both groups, those minorities, obviously blacks, which the big thing is going on right now, and Jews. We need to work to somehow get both groups up and get rid of the prejudice and the crimes against both groups.
And
it's not going to be snap your finger, wake up the next day, and it's gone, ready to build. But there needs to be at least a progress that from generations from now, it's better.
I mean, like, I know for certain now, I think there's a lot more heightened awareness now of what's actually going on. and what the actual message is trying to be. Whether us just like kind of being really pissed off for a few weeks and then everything just kind of dies down. I'm getting the sense this will never die down until there is some actual change, and hopefully we'll start to see that get some police reform and everything. And I definitely agree. What Joe Rogan was saying on one of his podcasts, that there just needs to be overall better training, and number one, and I definitely agree with this. You should at least be a brown belt, or a purple belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which
to be
on the actual force in the field, because to me, you are trying to subdue situations, and definitely that's a way to do it, because to me you just see a lot of people who are quite frankly not trained enough, and I mean that has been something that's pretty obvious.
I don't know about having to do that. I don't necessarily agree to that.
Well, as one of the criteria, not obviously not the main one, but
yeah, I don't think. I think there just needs to be better. I don't think you necessarily have to do that and still get taught easier restraints. I mean, with the George Floyd thing, the easier thing, regardless if he should have been taken down and handcuffed, that's one question. But one thing you can do is not put your knee on somebody's neck for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. I think once you take somebody down and you put
that's basic human decency right there.
And I think in any situation, if you take somebody down and you have their hands behind their back,
and two other people are also holding them down,
I don't think you need to knee. No. I mean, if somebody has their hands tied behind their back, they're, I don't want to say completely incapacitated to get away, but it's very difficult. Yeah. For pretty much. So I don't. From what I've heard and read, that I think what he used a counterfeit $20 bill, George Floyd, like something ridiculously simple. Like I don't think you need to. How they handle it, minus if you take the knee out of play, right? He's not on his knee, right? Having him on the ground, unless he's like I didn't see the whole video. I'll read the transparency here. I watched the whole video from beginning to end because I pretty much saw what I needed to see anywhere else.
It just that was way too hard.
Again, from what I've been told and seen, he wasn't resisting. Obviously, if you're not resisting, I don't see why he's on the ground in the first place.
Well, and apparently too that officer had
issues with him,
or
in the past.
I think it was that, and also too he has had multiple complaints against him. As far as the way that he conducted himself in the field and everything, so there was definitely a past.
I think once you get like 3 strikes or what have you, complaints, maybe it's time to sit and push pencils.
Yeah.
Or a more to do that, more training, to have a probation period.
Or
something.
I don't know, having some sort of program in place where, like, hey, if you can't do the basic things to do your job, then clearly you should not be a police officer, because I mean, and throughout this whole thing we've been seeing just a lot of people take take advantage of that and just.
Yeah, I also heard that the whole training in general. I think this was on Rogan's podcast. Something how this training in general overall for cops is lacking. So that's one problem. So I think there just needs to be more rigorous training for cops.
Yep.
Starting out. Somebody.
Well, because
related to not like the army or something. The training they go for that, and to weed out the weak.
Yeah.
And if you make it through the police account, like
the SEALs are
something like that.
Yeah, because I mean Rogan's has had a few SEALs on there, and basically they try to basically tear you down and build you back up, because that's more so is to weed out who is actually serious about this and who is just being there. But I'm not saying that the officers need to have 100% SEALs training, but
that's two different things.
Yeah,
basically.
but they definitely need to have something a little bit more comprehensive,
and more aggressive.
Yeah, than what's currently there, because obviously it is working. So
yeah, so yeah, that's. I mean, both that and the DeSean Jackson comments are just show obviously how far we have to go in being more respecting and being more sensitive to other groups.
And I'll say this too. I'm not sure if either Steven Jackson or DeSean said this, but if they didn't know about that history, I'm sorry, that's completely on you, because the whole World War II history has...
At this point, I don't know how...
I don't know how you don't know...
If nobody knows about it.
It's like, hell,
or sensitive to it.
I went through the whole history when I was a freshman in high school. Like that is just basic history there. This is like the most pivotal world war in human history. How that war, if the opposite would have happened, could you imagine if Hitler won? We're basically under completely different circumstances. So, I mean,
we're speaking German right now.
We're speaking German.
Or Japanese.
Or Japanese. So I don't want to hear any excuses with that. You should know about the Holocaust. You should know about how much of an evil tyrant that Adolf Hitler was.
A lot of tyrants back then.
There was a lot.
Stalin, Mussolini, obviously Hitler.
And Stalin, you could make it in.
Who's the in Japan?
Yeah.
Oh my God! So how much ever Hideki Tojo? I remember hearing that Hideki Tojo, or is that a general? I remember hearing that again, working in a history class.
Hideki Tojo.
Hideki Tojo, yes. That's what I thought.
Hideki
Shout out to Mr. Baker. He's not going to listen to this, but in Japan, they had that. There's a lot. I mean, there's tyrants now, but I just feel like World War II. It was like the main four there. It's Hideki Tojo, Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin. I think this is the big ones there.
You can.
I think he killed more people.
He killed
10 million. I think it was 10 million.
He killed. Whoa! And the difference is between him and Hitler. He was killing his own people.
Yes. Friends. Yes.
Hitler. He was not killing. He was not killing Germans. He was killing Jews, but he wasn't killing his own people. Whereas Stalin did not care.
Notorious for it. Yeah,
he was ruthless. And too, especially with the Polish people, he just it wasn't pretty. So I just hope that throughout all this, that everyone has a comprehensive idea of what World War II was and what actually happened, because there ain't no excuse.
Watch a History Channel. Yep. It's like almost every week.
I'm like, Netflix has about 4 or 5 documentaries on.
Yes.
Watch Schindler's List.
Yes, that's
it's a basic comprehensive of what happened with the Jews from start until finish, with that whole entire thing there.
Yep.
So, and so that was we definitely wanted to talk about that, but now let's move on to some sports here, Matt. As we know, there's a big UFC card this weekend, which has a brand new main event. Originally, it was supposed to be Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns for the UFC welterweight championship, but now unfortunately, Gilbert Burns he tested positive for COVID, so he's currently quarantining and trying to get back healthy. But in his place, Matt, is George Gamebred Masvidal steps in on 6 days notice, and is going to be fighting Usman, which should have been the fight to begin with, but the whole issue with him was with Dana and the UFC was actually meeting him on his financials, which has been a pretty big topic with the likes of him and John Jones and Connor and a few other guys. But supposedly they got pretty close to what he was asking for, and you could tell when that fight got announced, Matt, just the amount of freaking buzz like from Saturday on is night and day. And I would probably wager that they probably gained possibly a 500,000 more pay-per-view buys for this card. I don't think people really understand just how big of a star in George that he has become over the past calendar year. You go back to his flying knee KO of Askren, and then obviously for his last fight against Nate. He's a really big deal now. I mean, like he has people such as The Rock endorsing him. Since they're both are from Miami, but needless to say, Matt, I am super pumped for this card.
Yeah, it's a fun top 3.
Yep. I'm looking 3 title fights, which obviously Usman versus George. You have Holloway versus Volkanovski, and also Aldo versus
Peter Yan
versus Yan for the now vacant bantamweight title. So it's on top of a really good main event. This main card is loaded. Like, and hell, we're not even talking about freaking Thug Rose versus Andrade, which probably whoever wins that fight is possibly fighting Weili next. I'm crossing my fingers that it's Rose, because to me that is the fight that everyone wants to see. But I think that if Andrade wins, then they might do Willie versus Joanna again, just because as far as Andrade goes, she KO'd Andrade badly. Willie did. So I'm not sure if the company would do that fight, but as far as the odds go, Matt, and I guess we'll just start with Usman versus George. As of right now, and I'm gonna pull up the odds.
I got him. If you don't.
Yep.
I don't know what you're looking. I don't know what you're looking at, but
I'm gonna go DraftKings right
now. Oh, you're looking at me. Okay, me too. So we have Usman as a minus 240 favorite. Masvidal at plus 190 underdog. Mm-hmm. Alex Volkanovski is a minus 210 favorite, and Max Holloway is a plus 170 underdog. Peter Yan minus 215, and Jose Aldo plus 175 underdog. Andre, how do you say your name? I want to say Andrade, but Andrade. That's not pronounced anything how it's looked. Aaron. She's a plus 175 underdog, and Rose is minus 215 favorite.
Namajunas.
Okay, no, I'm not going to try it. Amanda Ribas. I'm probably butchering this. Is it Ribas?
Yep,
okay,
that's actually right.
I'll be damned. Is the strongest favorite?
Yeah,
at minus 770.
Yeah,
over Paige Van Zandt.
Paige, she
plus 500.
She's gonna get freaking massacred here.
And I believe that's it for the main card.
Yeah,
right?
Like just all 5 of those fights are just banger of fights there. And like honestly, for all 3 of those title fights, I'm really feeling with the underdogs there, man. Like, I mean, I like Aldo, I like Holloway, and hell, even George. But out of those 3, if I had to pick a favorite, it's definitely Usman. But I mean, if we recall, Holloway in the final 2 rounds against Volkanovski, like he was starting to get his timing down. Like that fight was slowly changing. It was just it was just pretty much at that point Volkanovski was just dominating so much that it was too little too late. And as far as Peter Yan goes, you know, he hasn't really fought anybody to this point. He beat an older your Ryan Faber, who was about 38 or so at this point. So it remains to be seen, you know, with the big step up in competition, and definitely against Aldo, who is arguably the greatest featherweight champion ever. How is he going to handle this? Because to me, Aldo is a really good striker, a really good boxer. I'm very interested to see how that is going to be combated. But I will say though, Peter Yan, he did beat Jimmy Rivera, who at that time was I think he had only lost one other previous fight, which I believe was against Marlon Moraes. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's such an interesting card for the main card, and as currently what I'm picking, Matt, I'm picking Usman for sure, but I'm pulling hard for George, because I can tell you this right now: if George beats Usman and becomes the new welterweight champion, he, outside of Conor, would probably be the biggest draw in that company. The ride of steam that he would be on would be unlike anything, and his like market value would take another tick up. So it would be really fun to see, and I'm really kind of hoping that happens. And I'm picking two underdogs for the other two title fights. I'm picking Aldo, and I'm also picking Max. So and with those odds, I will gladly take those odds there. And as far as for the first two fights on the main card, Paige, I just feel is completely outmatched here. I also think too this will probably be her final fight in the company. She has been on the record saying that she definitely plans on testing free agency, and like her husband is currently fighting over it in Bellator. So I would assume that she'll probably sign over there once this fight ends. And as far as like Rose versus Andrade, I am picking Rose here. And I just wonder what with her fight here. She had the most dominating first round of her whole entire career against Andrade in their last fight, and it wasn't enough because if you recall in like round 2, Andrade just pretty much body slams her, and that was it. So I wonder how that psychologically is going to play into this fight, if at all. So but I'm going to pick Rose there. So we'll see how the fights go, but needless to say, Dana White and putting all this together on Fight Island and Abu Dhabi has been crazy, insane. They've gotten a crazy amount of press for this, Matt, and just everything that they did to actually building the whole entire arena and just putting together all of the accommodations for the hotels and the resorts and everything just seems to have gone really well. And to my surprise, too, is like I think only one fighter missed weight, which I'm honestly kind of surprised by, just because basically how everything works here, man. You basically have to pass a COVID test before you even get on the plane to actually go to the island. You have to pass that. Then as soon as you land, you are immediately tested, and then you're pretty much quarantined in your hotel room for I think like 2 days, while at the same time you're also trying to train and cut weight and do all that. And then once you finally make weight, you have to take another test, and then you can fight. So it's just a crazy protocol. But I gotta say, Dana and the company, they have gotten this down perfectly right, and to me are the only real actual sport that can actually do these events, just because they have everything set up right to where it's going to keep people safe. Because ever since that they started back up events back in May, I think it was, that they've only had a few positive tests out of a ton of fighters, and for the most part, the people who are testing positive aren't even fighters. They have been such as cornermen, which to be perfectly honest is kind of surprising, and more of credit going to Dana and everyone working to make everything go here. So yeah, that was UFC, Matt. So hockey.
Yes. We are officially back. We got, I don't know if this is.
We have dates officially.
We got dates, and I got the article.
Yep.
I could probably put this down in the description too. So the Stanley Cup qualifiers start August 1st. So
boom,
couple more weeks, and they ratified a 4-year extension to the collective bargaining agreement through 25-26. Let's see here. The 12 participating Eastern Conference teams will play in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 Western teams will compete in Edmonton, and the conference finals and Stanley Cup final will take place in Edmonton. Each team is permitted to take a maximum of 52 individuals into the secure zones in the hub cities, including a maximum of 31 players. The players will be tested daily, as well as been administered daily temperature checks and symptom screenings, as well as individuals who might have indirect or direct contact with NHL teams will be tested daily as well. To get to the dates here, the start time, the times for the 10 days of Stanley Cup qualifiers in Toronto, so the Eastern Conference teams, will be at noon, 4 o'clock, and 8 p.m. And then the Western Conference games will be these are Eastern times, by the way. And then the Western teams will play at 2 p.m. Eastern, 6:30, and 10:30, and that may fluctuate up to 30 minutes during qualifying rounds. So the 16 teams that are contesting again in the best of 5 series again will begin August 1st, and here the games are 3 in Toronto, Carolina. On August 1st, there's going to be 3 in Toronto, Carolina versus the Rangers, Florida versus the Islanders, in Montreal versus Pittsburgh, and 2 in Edmonton for the West, the Blackhawks versus Edmonton, and Calgary versus Winnipeg. And then the top 4 teams in each will play in a round robin, and that will begin the next day on Sunday, August 2nd, with 2 games, 1 in each hub city. Boston versus Philly in Toronto, and Colorado and St. Louis in Edmonton. Right now, the complete broadcast schedule is not out. It says here it's going to be coming out in the next couple days, and so they have here critical dates. July 13th, training camp opens. That's in as of this recording, Monday here. The 26th of July, travel to the Hub City. It's July 28th through the 30th, exhibition games. August 1st, the qualifiers begin. August 10th is phase 2 of the draft lottery. And August 11th, the first round begins. August 25th, this is a tentative date. Second round begins. September 8th, again, tentative. Pretty much all these are tentative from now on. The finals begin, conference finals. September 22nd, the Stanley Cup finals begin. And October 4th is the last possible day of the final. And the October 9th and the 10th is where the 2020 draft will happen. And I believe the next season will begin in December. Right? Is that what was shown? I don't know if that's official.
I'm not entirely sure, but I want to say if it is in December, it's got to be at the very end of December.
I swear I heard that somewhere. I could be wrong. Yeah. I'm trying to look here. So as it stands now, if there's a picture here, which is, I can't blow it up. I'll turn my phone sideways. So August, they have a whole infograph on who plays when. So just in terms of Pittsburgh, they play the 1st, they play the 3rd, the 5th, basically every other day. Mm-hmm. But games 4 and 5 are back to back, August 7th and August 8th. So the round robin. This is again just the Eastern. August 2nd, Philly and Boston. Then the next day, Caps and Tampa Bay. August 5th, there's a break. And August 5th, Tampa Bay and Boston. Then Capitals, Philly. And then August 8th and 9th, Boston, Capitals, and Philly and the Lightning. Yeah, so pretty much besides the first 2 days, every game, there's about 6 games per day. Again, with the exception being August 1st and 2nd, there's only 5, so 52 games total. August 10th is a day off for everything. So, yeah, it's pretty much self-explanatory there, and I guess I'll have this linked. This is via the Penguins in the description below.
Yeah, just some of the questions I have, and this also goes for baseball as well. With so many people just kind of in the same area, I really don't see how this is all going to actually work. It kind of remains to be seen.
Yeah, there's gonna be something gonna happen, but
yeah, because too, even with such as basketball, they're having all kinds of issues. Baseball, I mean, like hell, like you see something every day where they're trying to get guys tested, and it's just creating a whole giant cluster. It's not like with boxing or with MMA, where you can kind of control all that, since you don't need as many people being in a concentrated area. But since just off of with the basic rules and the logistics, it's really hard to, I feel, in order to actually do this. And the bigger question is going to be is with football and college football, and we're kind of already are seeing the side effects of that. I believe the ACC and the Big Ten are not going to be allowing any non-conference games, which is in the end of the world, but it's just one step to them probably either delaying the season or possibly canceling it altogether. Which, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Especially in college football, like down south in Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, all of those like hotbeds, Texas.
I think. Well, I think I read. I don't know if it's official, but I read. I guess on Twitter. Everything on Twitter is official.
Oh, absolutely.
But it seemed like a legit thing that I think high school football in Texas.
Yeah, that's pretty much
is done. Yeah. I think they're stopping high school football in Texas.
It's like if you have seen like Friday Night Lights, that's all that you need.
Yeah, you think at least in Western PA, football is big here.
Yeah. But unlike down there, Matt, like the COVID cases in Texas, I mean, outside of Florida, that's probably and Arizona, like, are the 3 worst hotbeds right now. And I just don't know how all this is going to work unless there's, by the grace of God, a vaccine by then. I mean, in a lot of these areas, it's going to be tough. Which is why currently I'm kind of expecting that we're probably that if we do get a season, it's going to be delayed. I mean, hell, there was even talk with college basketball of them pushing everything back until January, which supposedly by then there's hope that a vaccine should be done by then. But as you know, Matt, like this whole thing, I mean, like who knows? So we're like everyone else are just still waiting to find out. Hey, like what's going to actually happen? Like what type of protocols are they going to be? Because outside of combat sports right now, wrestling, MMA, and also boxing are, to me, the only forms of sport or entertainment that can really do it right now. Just on the sole fact you just don't need as many people to put on events or to put on shows.
Yeah, I mean it's way easier than having 52 of 16 teams, multiply that, and then do that again with 16 teams in the West. 52 times 16 people. I think they say 52 players NHL in one city, and I think the ironic thing, I think I heard that the Penguins, the Flyers, and the Capitals, I believe, are in the same hotel, which that's hilarious in itself. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, I think people are going to get tested, and it was funny Toronto being picked as a hub city, because I would just read people saying Toronto is not doing too good, at least in COVID stuff. So
no, they're because I believe that this was back a few months ago that Toronto basically canceled any sort of like large gatherings until I believe September at the earliest. So
I don't know.
Yeah. So. It's all so crazy, and I'm sure.
But I'm still excited at the prospect of seeing hockey
and baseball and everything.
We have opening day for baseball on the 23rd, July 23rd. Just in as of recording, 13 days.
Yep.
As of this recording.
Weeks, yep.
And then. The first on ESPN, the first game, which should be a hell of a game, just potential pitching matchup with the defending champions, the Washington Nationals, hosting the Yankees at 7:08. And you could have possibly Garrett Cole making his Yankees debut against Max Scherzer.
Yep. Yeah.
I butchered that name. That's a hell of a pitching matchup there.
I would imagine a good amount of people are going to be watching it. If anything,
that might be the highest rated baseball game.
Yeah. If
on
anything,
ESPN.
Yeah. If anything, baseball's rating should get a little bit of a bump, just because there is such fewer games.
I would say at least initially, especially first game, and then the second game of that doubleheader is 10 p.m. The Giants at the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. So we have that, and then pretty much everybody is playing, if I'm not mistaken. Or the rest of everybody is playing the following Friday, the next day, and then everybody should be playing on Saturday, the 25th. So it's exciting for that, just to see sports. There's a plans coming back. It's just going to be interesting to see how, obviously with the COVID stuff, how that plays out, because people are going to get positive. Mm-hmm. So the team,
it's going to happen.
It's inevitable. You see it now. I think I saw the Pac-12 commissioner on Twitter. I think it's Pac-12. Got tested positive for COVID too. Mm-hmm. So like people are getting it. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. So teams have to, besides possible injuries and whatnot that happen every year, you're gonna have people that have to be out for 14 days due to the virus. If for baseball, if you have your ace pitcher, that's just for, and I don't want to use names, going strong and then gets it, probably has to quarantine obviously for 14 days. So that's 2 weeks. That's what, maybe 14, 13 games.
Right.
But you're missing him start 5, maybe 2 starts. So maybe it's not as bad, at least for a pitcher. Mm-hmm. But does he come in contact with somebody else before he got tested positive? If you have a star like first baseman or whatever, that's probably a better example of that's 14 days, close to 14 games without him. That especially if he's hitting bombers, that's just stuff this year and it's gonna have to deal with. And again, we talked about, I think with Eric having a couple episodes ago, having an asterisk on the season if you're a champ.
Oh, that's going to be everywhere. That's going to be everywhere. It's just.
No, it is what it. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
At this point,
yeah.
But it's at least there's baseball back and some normalcy, if you call it, for that. So
yeah, exactly.
I can't wait for the 23rd, and then obviously August 1st, because at least our Penguins are like we own the damn team. Are in the playoffs, hunting for another cup, and I know it's Pirates, but excited to see just the new regime, the new coach, and just see how this team plays out with this year, because it's more like, what do you have to lose? But sports in general, I'm probably going to watch a lot more sports now than I've had in the past, just because it's everybody's going to be talking about it. It's fresh.
Yeah, it's new. But yeah, so we'll be discussing that as we go on with the podcast. But something I wanted to discuss, because apparently ratings, Matt, are sort of a big deal now, because I go onto social media on yesterday, which is Thursday, when we are
I hate when the ratings come out.
My God,
it.
just like. And it didn't help that Tony Khan and Chris Jericho were just trolling everybody, and everyone was just getting so mad and pissed off.
I feel like Jericho trolls more than
just like
Khan. I felt Khan serious,
right? Khan, he was definitely more serious, but Jericho, he's just pissing everyone off. And guys, I'm here to tell you, the ratings are really overblown. They are still important. Do not get me wrong, because clearly, if they weren't important, TNT would have not already upped AEW with a brand new contract. But the whole debate is, what is more important? Is it the all important 18-49 demo, or the actual viewership? Now, I do agree that the 18-49 is vital, and that the total viewers, while it looks good, it's not as important. But at the same time, it's like, who cares? Neither show is getting canceled. Both shows are doing really well right now. So it's just annoying to see.
Oh, it is.
Every week.
So just to go some numbers, and there's quarterly numbers that just came out. I don't know if you saw those, which is if you saw my face a couple of seconds ago, you saw why. So overall, an average, which I hate the rating system overall is just stupid. It breaks down.
It's very flawed.
You have the Nielsen homes, and you don't know who has it, and like one home represents like 1,000 people, and so it. I wish there was a way, if you have a cable box, there's a way to just, people like it's invasive, to just pull that information, how live. But anywho, because it's stupid. I hate that whole thing. Anyways, NXT, an overall viewership on average, beat AEW again this week.
Right.
For I think 3 weeks in a row. They drew 759,000 compared to 715. For Dynamite. Both dropped just over 4% from the previous week. And
it should also be noted as well that combined viewership not too far off once again from the third hour from Raw. So they're itching ever closer there. Matt.
Yeah, and then the all important 18-49 demo. AEW won again with a .28 and NXT a .20. So they're both in the .20s. So the quarterlies here, you have overall AEW won the first hour. NXT won the second hour,
which is zero surprise. Just
yep.
with basic common sense.
Yeah. So, in quarter one for AEW, Private Party versus Omega and Hangman Page got 785,000 viewers, 391 in the 18 to 49. And to compare to NXT, Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae had 775,000 viewers, not that far off.
Not that far off at all.
With 235,000 in 18 to 49. Okay. AEW, Joey Janela versus Lance Archer went down 90,000 to 695,000. And then 18 to 49 went down 35,356.
Gee, I wonder why.
And then the end of Mia Yim versus LeRae went down to 681,000 viewers, and the 18 to 49 went down to 226,000. So both went down pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Minus the 18 to 49 for NXT only went down 9,000, but overall viewership pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as some Dynamite, they've been pretty consistent. Like, they will win every single major demo except for old people, which has been part of the course ever since these shows have been going head to head.
And the good thing here, I'm not gonna read any like one to one, but some points. But the end of the Archer Janela thing, and then into the Taz Brian Cage interview, those went up to 736,000, and the demo went up to 373. So up 41,000 for total, 17,000 for the 18 to 49 demo.
And what does that tell you, Matt? Everyone is switching back and forth between.
Yeah. Hell, that's quarter three. Somehow the Bronson Reed versus Tony Nese and Robert Stone angle, the viewership went up a little bit to 15,000 overall and up 9,000 in the demo graph. Surprisingly, the Gargano Isaiah Swerve Scott match went down a little bit on quarter four.
What were they being counter programmed by?
And quarter four was the Young Bucks and FTR versus the Bruchers.
That's why.
But yeah, which the overall viewership went down from that quarter from the Brian Cage interview, but the demo went up 6,000.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe the demo of Gargano and Scott, it went down 10,000. Maybe the young people switched over to that.
That's exactly.
I don't know. Yeah. So both. The thing was, the funny thing, like both are down. It'd be funny if one went up and one went down. You could, but like both went down. But
and just like it's like every single week they're like, just AEW fans, NXT fans are just going to war every single week. I was like, guys, like you do realize that who actually wins every single week, it doesn't matter.
It's us.
Like
it's us.
Like neither show is getting canceled. TNT, they just re-upped for Dynamite. Oh yeah, and I saw one of the worst takes ever.
Well, please elaborate.
That apparently someone said that that apparently Dynamite is bringing down TNT because they are not in the top of in the top three or so of viewership on TNT. There's just one problem with that. They only have one other show that is in the top 50 and 18 to 49 on that network. So you tell me, why in the hell would the execs over at TNT take something off of TV that is currently the only thing that's showing in the top 50 in that demo? It just basic common sense with these people is just astounding.
To compare the last 15 minutes, Jericho and Orange Cassidy only got 675,000 viewers, down to 20,000, but yet the 18 to 49 demo was up 12. And,
that shocks me, especially going up against Keith Lee and Adam Cole.
What shocks you? What part of the That demo.
Yeah, that demo. You would think it would be on the complete opposite side.
But then this went through 2 quarters. So because the Cole-Lee match started at 9:30, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that at that 9:30, there was 816,000 viewers, up 75,000, and then the demo went up 55,312, and then the matching quarters, the last 15 minutes, Adam Cole and Keith Lee had 922,000 viewers.
Okay, yeah.
Up 106,000, and then the 18 to 49 had 359,000, up 47,000. So, so the Cole Lee last 15 minutes, pretty much dominated AEW's Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho,
as you would expect.
So I like 900. That's big. That's when you saw my face in the beginning. I saw the 922. Went, holy crap!
Yeah.
But obviously, the overall rating is an average, and that's why it's so close.
Mm-hmm.
But
and I will continue to say this for both NXT and with Dynamite, as long as they're doing strong numbers, then that within the 18 to 49, those shows aren't going anywhere. And I got news for you too. They are the only 2 wrestling shows right now on cable TV that honestly that you should watch, that you feel that you are getting something every single week, unlike the shows on Monday and Friday. So I mean, like they are doing that. So which is why I don't care if the viewers are slightly down or slightly up, as long as they're consistent and not awfully bad.
And AEW got a .28, NXT got a .20.
Exactly.
I don't know what the difference of .08 is, but they're both in the .20s. Now it would be something if like AEW had like a .28 and NXT would have like a .10.
Right.
And there's an issue there, obvious. But to me, I again, I don't know what a 100th of a point difference or 800th of a point difference is, but 28 to 20 is, I think, is still good.
Yeah, and the thing is, both of these shows are going to be trading off wins, because I guarantee you, with the shows that are coming up for the following week, and we talked about this on Wednesday. Dynamite has a loaded show. Like, there's no reason why they should not be
compared to NXT this week.
Because the only advertised match that NXT has is
2.
Or 2 is
the women's match, title match, and Damian Priest and Cameron Grimes, which is not going to draw ratings.
So
the women's match.
Yeah. So are you guys going to watch that too, or like a Moxley versus Cage, FTR versus Pentagon and Phoenix, which is a dream match that I've been dying for a long time to see. The only match on Dynamite that I could care less about is the TNT Championship match, which we all know what that is. But
Cody and Sonny Kiss.
And then you have the freaking Elite versus Jurassic Express. So 3 out of those 4 are going to draw a lot of interest right there. So
I would be shocked, completely shocked, and would consider it impossible if NXT won. If I doubt it, but if AEW can't with that card beat NXT overall, there's something wrong.
Especially too now with NXT, they aren't going to be having most likely Adam Cole for the foreseeable future, unless they do something right away, which could happen. But that's a big player who is not going to be possibly on their show going forward. Now we'll see what happens in the coming weeks, whether he's going to be on the next takeover or not, or if he'll just go straight up to SmackDown, which by the way, Matt, supposedly SummerSlam isn't going to be happening now, and that supposed to be considered is a second Evolution show.
Oh yeah.
And because supposedly they just don't want to. And I think I read somewhere too that they were considering a 2-night SummerSlam, which I am perfectly fine with, because as we saw with
Mania,
yeah, that worked amazingly, which is definitely something once crowds do come back that the company should definitely think about doing. Shows flow just so much better.
Yeah, that's a discussion for a different day.
But yeah, and as far as that goes, I mean, I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, we would need to actually wait until something is officially announced. But I would be very interested if they did just flat out cancel SummerSlam and just replaced it with some other show. I'm not exactly sure what they would exactly do, but
I wouldn't be I wouldn't be upset with another Evolution. No. If you have like combine all the main NXT, SmackDown, Raw, obviously, but I think they did that last last time. Yeah. So I mean, there's people that always complain about women's, but their division is so freaking stacked, and top to bottom.
That probably could give them an excuse to do another Mae Young Classic on top of that, which with the talent that they currently have, they could definitely do that.
The talent that's out there,
exactly.
So I wouldn't be mad at an Evolution. I'd be kind of sad to see a SummerSlam go. So I don't know. Yeah. That's all rumors and conjecture at this point.
Rumor and innuendo.
Okay, Conrad Thompson.
As our boy Conrad Thompson would say. But
and Brad Pritchard. Jesus Christ.
Our good old buddy Bruce.
Brad. How did I say Brad? Where did that come from?
But on that note, I think this is probably a good place for us to stop here, Matt. So, as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. As all of you guys know, we will be doing our annual reaction show.
Annual, every once a year.
Oh,
weekly.
Mine's elsewhere.
Apparently, at least I didn't even say Brad Pritchard.
Yeah, but every Wednesday night we will be on here to discuss NXT and Dynamite, and obviously with our podcast that drops every Saturday at 3 p.m. So as always, comment, subscribe, follow our Twitter page, and without further ado, for Matt, for John, we shall see you on Wednesday.